How much of the real story did you know before reading the script?
Not much at all. You know, I knew about Moby Dick, but I didn't know Moby Dick was inspired by true events, which was this, and that's what kind of fascinated me.
There's little to none. You know, I knew Moby Dick, but I think a lot of people are going to have the same experience of, I didn't know that was real, and I think it's probably important that we know that it's real.
I didn't know it was based on real events. I thought it was an exciting story, but I wasn't really interested in just retelling Moby Dick. But when I found out it was true, and then I went back and reconciled the facts against the screenplay, I said, this is a great adaptation of this story.
It's quite a secret.
Yeah, it was. I love American history. I think I know something about it. And I had no idea that, that there was an origin story for Moby Dick, that Moby Dick was inspired by this real event. And in fact, the way Melville writes about the whale, Moby Dick, he wasn't exaggerating it, just as this movie does not exaggerate the scale and intensity of that whale.
It's just a whale. And what do you think Moby Dick the whale symbolizes? It's not just a whale, is it?
No. I think it's different for each of these guys. You know, in Owen Chase's position, or my character, it was really kind of a mirror to his soul and what is it that you're doing, and forced him to ask larger questions about his place in the world and the universe. You know,
there's something humbling about it, and there's something also familiar about it because it is a mammal. I think. Yeah, it symbolizes our own limits and our own potential to cause harm to ourselves.
It's a sort of a punishment for daring to venture out, but I felt like our creature was more like King Kong, to put him in movie terms. You know, a force of nature awakened by man's sort of greed.
And you seem to have a fascination with putting men in peril.
Don't we all? Especially true stories that test people in this way are fascinating to me, the great human interest stories, but also they allow you as a director to really go to some very extreme, kind of unexpected places, and you can't have the audience say, no, ridiculous. Because, why? Because it happened.
200 years ago, could you have joined a whaling boat yourself?
No. I think it took a very specific strength and frame of mind, and I don't think many of us could have done it. I mean, leaving home for 2 or 3 years at a time, not knowing if you were going to come back. No, I'd rather not.
Oh God, I don't think so. I think like they went away for 2 or 3 years, you know, and didn't see their family and didn't know if they're going to come back and so on. And yeah, that doesn't sound enjoyable to me by any means. But look, it was the way of the world at the time. You know, this is what put food on the table, and it was the workforce. It's what drove the economy. So they didn't have much of a choice, I guess. So if I was in that situation and didn't have a choice, I guess I'd have to suck it up.
It's unbelievable, what they endured on a good voyage, which is probably why the number of individuals who survived could, because they were sort of programmed to suffer. They understood that kind of pain in a way. I think a modern person would be so mentally destroyed by it that they wouldn't be able to cope.